The first of 300 public housing properties with Sydney Harbour views go on sale from tomorrow with $2 million price tags. But tenants still living in the area say they won't leave without a fight.
A chance to own a jewel on Sydney Harbour. That's the state government's sales pitch. But to these public housing tenants, it's their community and they want their voices to be heard.
They're just kicking us out. We're not good enough to live there. It was all right when it was a dirty, industrious and dangerous area to work.
We have a relocation team that's been working with each tenant to ensure that their needs are understood, that they have the opportunity for the best possible housing alternative. I'm confident that that is a compassionate and sensitive approach.
I've got friends, neighbours that look after me, I look after them. It's a community. What price a community?
The government is selling 293 historic harbourside properties around Millers Point, saying they're too expensive to maintain. Minister Upton says the money will go straight back into social housing. Mother of two, Marissa Esposito, has been on a waiting list for 2 years. Both her children have special needs.
I feel sorry for them. I understand where they're coming from. They've been here for a long time, but I think the money needs to be spent in areas to help families like myself.
But the opposition doesn't buy it.
I'm very concerned that after 3.5 years, the Liberals and Nationals have been selling off more public housing than they have been building.
Last year, the government got rid of 1,386 houses and built just 536. The Auditor-General says whilst the housing stock shrinks, the need grows. And by 2016, estimates there'll be 86,000 people on the waiting list. Claire Aird, ABC News, Sydney.
This is just a massive cash grab from the Liberal and Nationals, and none of that money, none of the proceeds will go back into public and social housing.
We're seeing the state government behind people's backs, increasing the heights and the densities of developments on the harbour side. We know this is happening with Barangaroo, and now we're seeing a sell-off of public housing in Millers Point. This is a cash grab by a Liberal state government who wants to ensure that working people can never live around Sydney's harbour. This is development for profit, not development to support a diverse community living in Sydney.
Minister Upton this morning is tweeting about a fair and sustainable social housing policy. Well, there is nothing fair about turfing people out of their homes and breaking up this community and not even putting the money back in the housing portfolio.
The Auditor-General released his report in July of last year, made a number of recommendations to this government that they had to provide a social housing plan. We haven't seen that plan. An estates strategy, we haven't seen that strategy, and a whole lot of other recommendations. All we've seen is a bed tax, the ripping off of pensioners' clean energy supplement, and a whole lot of public housing sell-offs. Now, the Auditor-General said in his report that by 2016, the waiting list will grow from 57,000 eligible families to 86,000 eligible families if this pattern continues of selling off more public housing than building public housing. So there's a massive problem in the system. The government has a massive housing crisis. It's increasing rents. And as Councillor Scott has stated, it's increasing the rents in the city where we have thousands of people who work, who are on low and moderate incomes, who need to live close to their work. We're going to have an increase in hospitality workers, in IT workers who will be working on moderate incomes. Where are they going to be living? And many of those people are travelling 1.5 hours, 2 hours away. We need to ensure that there is enough public and affordable housing in the inner city and across the suburbs. We call on Gabriel Upton and the Liberal and National Government to stop the sell-off, get back to the drawing board and get a plan out. It's 6 months, 7 months from the next election. They don't have a minister for housing. They've been selling off more public housing than they've been building. They've cut the maintenance budget. They've underinvested in maintenance by $85 million. That is what the Auditor-General has stated. This is why housing in New South Wales is in disarray.
I've consistently called on the Lord Mayor to investigate the $1.6 million square metres of vacant property that we have in this city. We know that the vacant property in Sydney is equivalent to about 35,000 one-bedroom units. There is vacant space in this city, and there are public housing properties that are sitting vacant that could be used and could be redeveloped for more public and affordable housing. The City of Sydney Council needs to take a much more interested and active role in ensuring that the city remains an affordable place to live for young people, for students and for working people. And I've called on the City Council to do an audit of the available strategies we have as a council to ensure that we can have more public and affordable housing. I've also called on the council to investigate the 1.6 million square metres of vacant space in the city and see whether that can be used for social and affordable housing. Unfortunately, those strategies have been rejected by the current Lord Mayor, and she has chosen not to take action on those. As a Labor councillor, I will continue to push for the City of Sydney Council to work hard to get more social and affordable housing for the city.
Just on the homeless and the people on the waiting list, about 500 metres from us, there's about 20 or 30 people sleeping rough under the flyover under the Harbour Bridge. Besides the 57,000 on the waiting list, we have around here upwards 80 properties, some with 4 units in it. So basically, why aren't they being utilised for the people that are homeless and the people that are on the waiting list? Why all of a sudden are these properties being found for us and were never found for these people? They're taking us out of perfectly livable places, and they are putting us in places that are earmarked for the people on the waiting list. It's disgraceful. The government running the way they're running public housing in this state shouldn't be allowed. It's immoral.